Hey everybody, welcome back to Real Rendezvous Podcast. That's Brett. I'm Hunter. Brett, how you doing, old buddy?
I'm doing good today. I'm doing good.
What do you have going on with the high pitched voice there?
What?
You working on your is it soprano?
I wasn't trying to go high pitch.
I feel like you would be a baritone.
I'm doing good today, Hunter.
Do the Christian Bale. I'm good today. I'm good today. It's like you're like constipated. I think I'm doing good today. Glad to hear you're doing good today. I'm all right. Yeah. I'm all right. Struggling through midnight shift, but making the best of it. Got a little nap in today. If anybody wants to get upset, one of our 10 listeners wants to get upset about this podcast coming out a little tardy, yeah. Blame me. It's on me. My schedule rotates and with work and everything and my sleep schedule. So, but we will power through, strive on. So today
the April Fool's joke for today is that we don't upload an episode.
Just like say we're canceled and then like it pops up on the second.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just so everybody knows, we're recording this at the end of April Fool's. So happy April Fool's Day, everyone. So today we are reviewing a favorite of mine, all-time favorite of mine. There's the all-time for Alyssa. Kill Bill Vol.1 specifically, directed by Quentin Tarantino, starring Uma Thurman, David Carradine, Lucy Liu, Vivica A. Fox, Daryl Hannah, amongst others. I absolutely love this movie. I was telling Brett before we watched it that if somebody was to ask me, favorite movie, Hunter, my gut instinct always has been to say Kill Bill. I just feel like this movie's inherently rewatchable, has a little bit of something for everyone. Mostly everyone anyway, but I think it's Quentin Tarantino's most accessible movie. A lot of his movies are heavy on dialogue, and that's why a lot of people like them, but at the same time, a younger audience would probably have a hard time with the attention span. With that said, not saying a younger audience should probably watch this movie because it can be very graphic. But Brett, before we dive into Quentin Tarantino's Kill Bill Vol.1, anything you want to touch base on specifically here prior to? I know we like to dabble a little.
Oh, for sure. We got Moon Knight started. Moon Knight's premiere came out Wednesday.
Yeah, so I'm a noob. I haven't watched the premiere episode, but Brett has. Brett, do not spoil.
Yeah,
we typically spoil things here.
No spoilers.
Not spoiling this.
No spoilers for the first episode of Moon Knight.
I still need to watch.
But no, it's great. It's. I mean, everyone and their mothers says this every time a new Marvel show comes out. Oh, it's the best one we've gotten so far.
Yeah.
And so it kind of becomes a pattern. But honestly, they do just keep getting better. So, and this one definitely is. Like, it's the best one we've gotten so far.
Well, you're one episode in, though. But
yeah. It's the best premiere we've gotten so far.
There you go.
It is because some of the premieres, like I would say Falcon and the Winter Soldier is a good show. That premiere sucked. It was so boring.
I never finished it because of that first episode.
Yeah, no,
I tapped out quick.
The first couple episodes of Falcon and the Winter Soldier are not interesting in the slightest.
Right.
But then it gets really good as it goes on. This one comes right out swinging. With just, as much as I can say about it, Oscar Isaac is fantastic.
Great actor.
Oscar Isaac is too good for the MCU. I said this on Twitter. I said Oscar Isaac is too good for the MCU. So they gave him a show that feels nothing like the MCU. This show... And
then he'll end up just destroying it. So, like, in a good way. He'll end up just... turning this show into one of their biggest hits, probably.
Oh, yeah, no. I love Oscar. Shout out Oscar Isaac.
Shout out Oscar Isaac.
He is just so good.
We were talking earlier thinking that he had a longer lifespan of being like a A-lister, like front man. It really hasn't been that long.
Mm-mm.
And you could even make the argument that he's not like whenever Force Awakens came out, that was just him just starting to hit that A-list tier because he really wasn't that big of a name.
When you check his Wikipedia or whatever, like his IMDb, it gives the known for,
right,
and it says that he's known for. You said it when we were talking about him. It came out in 2014.
Ex Machina.
Yes, it says known for his Ex Machina, which I've never seen.
I haven't either.
The first thing I saw Oscar Isaac in was The Force Awakens. Yeah. But no, I mean, and he knocks it out of the park. This isn't a spoiler because this is well, I guess technically it's a spoiler if you don't know who Moon Knight is.
Can we say slight spoilers?
Slight spoiler for Moon Knight. The character that Oscar Isaac plays, Moon Knight, Stephen Grant, has dissociative identity disorder, DID.
Yeah.
And that's just done so well in the show so far, at least just for this first episode.
You got to have a strong actor to have to be able to portray a person that with that condition accurately and honestly.
Yeah.
So
and Oscar Isaac's killing it so far. He's doing such a good job. The action is really good. It's violent. This Marvel show, slight spoilers again. I'm going to talk about one scene.
That's okay.
But there's a scene where Oscar Isaac wakes up and his jaw is dislocated. It is out. It is like over to the side, so dislocated. Cool. His mouth is full of blood, and he he doesn't touch it with his hands, but like he just
pops it back in.
Pops it, and you hear all the crunching, and then and it's crazy.
You made a comparison earlier saying it was so much more in vein with like the Daredevil and Punisher show.
It is
Netflix.
Much closer in tone and atmosphere with the Netflix shows than the everything else we've gotten from the Disney Plus shows so far, which is a plus.
Yeah, I think that would pump a lot of people up.
Yeah, no, it's really good.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch it.
Yeah, I'm excited for what's coming next. And the suit's dope. I'm a big costume guy.
Yeah.
I love me some good costume.
Yeah, you know if the suit looks good. You know if Brett says the suit is good, it's a good suit.
It's a good suit. And Moon Knight's suit is a good suit.
Yeah, that's exciting. They do so much with white. I mean, it's really nice, you know. Usually you have to at least have like a two-tone color scheme for a...
And they do throw the gold in there, but it works. Okay. It looks really good.
Okay, yeah. So I did not know that there was a gold tone.
Just a little bit. He's got some, but it's like all the gold parts are also wrapped in the bandages.
I got you.
So it's just like little bits of gold peeking out every here and there. But it really breaks it all up.
Yeah, later.
It's a good suit.
Later tonight, depending on how late I stay up, I might try and knock out the premiere episode, watch it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it a lot.
Speaking of premiere episodes, this Moon Knight one is one I watched and you didn't, but there's a show that came out recently that you watched and I didn't.
Yeah, Halo.
Halo
the series on Paramount Plus. Gee, so glad I paid whatever I paid for Paramount Plus, and now I have. I get to watch Halo. I basically paid like $15 a month to watch Halo.
I think they should make one universal streaming service where all the original shows from all the other ones, they put them on there. So it's like I don't want to watch these Nickelodeon shows. I just want Halo, and I don't want to watch. Bambi. I just want to watch Moon Knight.
Yeah.
It's like you get your one universal streaming service and it has all of them.
That would be tight.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's some other stuff on Paramount Plus that I'm interested in, like that 1883. Like I know everybody glows about it, and I like westerns, so I'm interested in that. But other than that, there's really not much it offers. But anyway, Halo. I don't even know what day that premiered. Was that last Friday?
Oh, geez.
I think it was. I think it was last Friday.
What day was last Friday? It was March something.
Last Friday was on a Friday.
Good point.
Regardless, I watched it the day after it premiered. And I came away mostly pleased. I would say if I'm going to give it's dumb to give a number rating over one episode, like a premiere episode, but I would give it a 7 out of 10. Good, not great. It could have been great, but the last 10, 15 minutes of the episode kind of spiraled down. But some of the positives I really liked in it. The action was really entertaining. The first 20 minutes of the episode, there was a big firefight sequence, and it introduces the Covenant as this force that humanity does basically, for lack of better words, does not want to fuck with, because they just come in and wreck shit. And like I was telling you earlier, whenever people are getting shot with plasma weapons, limbs are exploding, and the energy swords look really cool. And it's got a lot of faithfulness to the game series. Like whenever the Spartans are getting shot at, you can hear that signature depletion of the energy shield. And like whenever it revives, the assault rifle, the DMR all make an appearance. So it's pretty faithful. Honestly, there's a couple janky spots as far as special effects. I didn't think it was anything bad though. I heard some other podcasts saying way worse things about it, but I think it looks pretty good for the most part. The biggest issue I have with it, I don't really think this is a spoiler, but they do unmask Master Chief.
No, because they posted about it on Twitter.
Yeah,
A picture of the guy.
And I get that. I just wish that the approach to unmasking a character that is perennially, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right, wearing a mask and known for his
He's
look.
never been shown in the games before, has he?
No. He's only been described like once in the books of what he looks like unmasked, and it's just disappointing. I wish they'd have approached that more with, like I told you before, like the Mandalorian did with Din Djarin taking his mask off. It was reserved for like one moment in one episode in season 1, and it happened quick.
Yeah.
So that's one of my biggest flaws. That and just a couple of the other side characters, what they're trying to build with them. There's really not any other side characters yet that I know much about. But at the same time, I like that this is set prior to Combat Evolved, and it's kind of building its own world within the Halo universe. Like I was telling you that the UNSC is kind of seen as this almost like galactic empire where they're not as evil. They're not evil, really, particularly not yet anyway. But you have rebellions that don't want to join the UNSC reign, so to speak. But I thought it was pretty good.
Now, is this being considered canon to the games, or is it like like an alternate side thing?
To tell you the truth, I can't answer that.
Do you know?
Yeah, I haven't really like browsed through anything, any accurate sources, anyways. I would say it's probably canon because Bungie produced this.
Oh, okay.
So, or not Bungie, but 343 Studios. Sorry, would have been tight if it would have been Bungie. But 343 Studios produced this, so I would say it's probably canon, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah, I was just asking because I was going to say, I wonder if there's going to be an event in the show where it's like he vows to never take his helmet off again in the show, and that's why it's not anywhere in the games.
Well, see, like one of the biggest things about like the Spartans not removing their helmet is just their humanity is displaced from them, basically. They're never not in war, basically. Now, they are still human beings, and he even makes a joke in the show about, like, there's a girl, and she asks him, well, I'm hungry, and he gets her, like, some rations, and she's like, what do you eat? And he's like, nuts, bolts. And she doesn't say anything, and he, like, turns and looks at her and says, it was a joke. And so I like that. And if you've played the Halo games, Master Chief, he's not a comedian by any means, but he has a very dry sense of humor. So I think Pablo Schreiber is going to do good. He's a unit. Like, he's a big dude. And that's another thing I really love. I know we've had our discussions about this, but I think Chief looks pretty good, man. I think the Spartan Mjolnir armor looks good. But yeah, I mean, to be continued. The jury's still out.
Yeah.
But if you get the chance, you should definitely check into it. I know you're not a big Halo guy.
No, I plan on checking it out because I like space and sci-fi stuff, and like I have an interest in Halo, like the lore and like the series.
That's one of the best things, in my opinion, about Halo is, as far as like sci-fi goes, it's one of my favorite sci-fi lores out there. I think it's really, really cool.
Like, I think Master Chief is a cool looking character.
Yeah.
I just don't like the gameplay of the games that I've played.
You're not a boomer shooter like me.
No. The only first person shooter I play is Overwatch.
Would you say Master Chief would be in the top 10, maybe not best, but most recognizable video game characters?
Top 5.
You think? Really?
Yeah.
Top 5? Hell
I think
yeah,
I could
man.
find someone on the street and show them a picture of him, and they'd be like, "Oh, the Halo guy."
Yeah.
I don't know if they could say Master Chief.
Right.
But I guarantee you, anyone can say, "Oh, that's the guy from Halo."
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad you feel that way.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, that makes me feel a lot better about your opinion. Your outstanding opinion on Halo thus far.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I don't think Mario would be in the top 10.
Of course not. He's too underground for those guys.
I'm just kidding. Mario could probably be number 1 overall.
I would say he is number 1.
Yeah. He is video
Mario,
games.
Sonic, Master Chief.
So Master Chief's top 3 now. I don't know about that.
Honestly.
Crash Bandicoot, maybe?
No, I don't know.
No? You don't think?
I don't think so.
Spyro? Nah, he's even worse than Crash.
I think Spyro... Oh, I was going to... Actually, no, you're right. He's definitely below Crash.
I just feel like when the PS1 came out, it was Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah. Well, here's the question. It's like...
I would love to make a poll out of that.
Are we talking like video game main characters or video game characters?
Most recognizable video game characters.
Okay, well, see, then that's not fair because then top 5 is just Mario, Luigi, Princess Peach,
I don't know about
Toad.
that. I think people would get Mario and maybe Luigi, but I think after that it would taper off pretty quick. Like Mario spans like 4 generations?
Mario and Sonic are definitely top 2.
I shouldn't say 4 generations, but like 4 or 5 decades.
Like top 2 spots are
Mario and Sonic.
Locked in, Mario and Sonic. I could show someone that's lived under a rock for 4 years a picture of Sonic the Hedgehog and they'd be like, oh, the fast guy. It's Sonic.
Yeah, I would say, man, yeah, you're right. Master Chief might be right there.
I think he might be. Because I'm not thinking of anyone else. I'm thinking like Mario, Sonic, Master Chief are probably top 3. Kratos might be up there.
Yeah, like I'm trying to think of like who the mainstays are of these franchises. You got to think about longevity too.
Yeah,
like, there's just really maybe Link.
Zelda. Yeah, probably.
Like,
Kirby.
Kirby, maybe, yeah. And that's funny, too.
A lot of Nintendo guys.
A lot of Nintendo.
Well, that's just because Nintendo's been at the game
it's
longer
the OG.
than anyone.
Original gangster.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, that was a good little discussion there.
Yeah,
on
nice.
Characters. So, I got to check out Moon Knight. Brett's got to check out Halo.
Mm-hmm.
You need to check out Halo, if anything, just to help me find something else worth having the goddamn Paramount Plus prescription for. Subscription.
Well, I watched I got it originally. It's funny. I got my Paramount Plus subscription like without even remembering that Halo was. No, I was watching Blue's Clues actually. I was reliving the old childhood.
Steve on there?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we can respect.
He left
Steve.
way later than I thought he did. I thought,
really?
Yeah, no, because I grew up in 2003. Obviously, that's when I was born. But I grew up mostly with Joe. Yeah. My experience with Steve, and Steve was always my favorite.
Yeah.
But I when I was watching it on TV. It was when Steve was getting phased out and Joe was coming in. And so all my VHSs were Steve. And so I would watch those instead of the actual show because I didn't like Joe that much.
Yeah.
But I checked. Steve left in season 5. Joe was only around for 3 seasons.
What was he Steve's brother? Was that a thing or was that just like
I think he was
a rumor?
His cousin.
Were they actually related?
Like in real life, you mean?
Yeah.
No.
No,
okay. In real life, they're just 2 actors.
Okay.
But I think in the show, they were either brothers or cousins.
Okay. Blue's Clues, I used to watch.
And now it's a completely different guy. His name is Josh. And also it's considered a different show. It's called Blue's Clues and You now. And Blue's a little CGI dog.
Yeah.
But Joe and Steve actually make very frequent cameos.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's nice.
That's good.
Yeah.
Steve, he was the OG for me.
Yeah.
Well, he
no
was.
one will ever beat Steve.
Legitimately the OG, but when I was young, I watched Blue's Clues with Steve.
I made Mom buy me a striped, a green striped. What's that kind of shirt called?
A sweatshirt. Was he wearing a sweatshirt?
It's like the kind of frat boys wear.
Oh, like a long sleeve polo.
Yeah. I can't remember the name.
It's almost like a rugby shirt.
Rugby. Thank you. That's it. That's the word I was looking for.
Rugby. You're right, though. You're right.
I made her buy me a green striped rugby with a white collar, and then we went and we took professional photos of me in that shirt. They're at Mama's house on the wall. I'll show them to you next time we're there together.
Man,
but that's how much Steve was my boy. I was repping. I was out there putting his name on the streets.
You are a super nerd. That's okay though, because
I have been since day one. Look at that.
We're here to be nerds.
That was my original cosplay. Was Steve from Blue's Clues.
So if we have Nickelodeon on Paramount Plus, what other Nickelodeon shows would be worth my time? Is Invader Zim Nickelodeon?
Yes.
I wonder if it's on there. Because I can remember watching Invader Zim when I was young and laughing my ass off.
Avatar: The Last Airbender is Nickelodeon.
Ooh, I should watch that. Mm-hmm. Never did get into. I like anime, but I wasn't like really a Nickelodeon kid growing up. I watched Cartoon Network.
Yeah, I was a Nickelodeon kid, and then I realized Cartoon Network existed, and I was like, "Why was I watching?"
Alyssa always gets mad at me and like says Disney's the best, and like, man, I think.
Now, you can't beat Adventure Time and regular show. Those are goats.
Oh,
those are goated
Mordecai and Rigby were my dudes, man.
They're everyone's dudes. They're the perfect pals.
Hilarious. Absolutely. Such a creative show.
It was
so creative.
I love memes that are like regular show be like, and it's like an edited video, and a guy like rings a doorbell. He's like, "Hey, would you like this pizza?" And he turns around, it's like Cthulhu.
Yeah, I mean that's what I mean though. Like it's hilarious. I can remember one of my favorite regular show episodes. I believe the episode was called "Do Me a Solid." Have you ever watched that one?
Yeah,
where like the gates of hell open up because he didn't repay the solid. And it's like all you had to do was pay me back the solid. So like
and then there's like a whole scene where like Rigby dies, and Mordecai's like, yeah, Rigby, like he gets like disintegrated. He's like, you just had to pay me a solid.
Yeah, he does. Ooh,
they're on like the train in subspace. That show's insane. If you guys haven't watched a regular show before, go, like it's on HBO Max. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, HBO Max has all the cartoon.
Go watch regular show. It is a trip and a half.
You know, regular show. Funny. When I watched it, it's not that old. What was it, like 10, really. 15 years old?
No, it ended like 4 years ago, 3 or 4.
It's not very old.
Movie.
I watched that like the year I was graduating high school or like right after, and like I would watch it with my younger sisters, and like there was a lot of like innuendo jokes that they, was over their head.
Dude, there were episodes where they would say pissed.
Yeah. I'm pissed. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, Mordecai, like Ruby's like, no, don't do it. I'm sorry. He's like, it's already in motion. You pissed me off.
Man.
Yeah.
And like there's a lot of little Easter eggs in the episodes that have to do with stuff that like kids wouldn't know about. Like Muscle Man in his trailer, he has a Pink Floyd poster. 2 of them, I think.
Yeah.
And also, there was an episode. You remember the episode with the unicorns that are like assholes?
Yeah.
They're all dressed like the characters from A Clockwork Orange, which
they
is
are.
Like a really, really graphic, like ahead of its time movie from like this. I think the late 60s, early 70s. I can't remember when it came out. But shout out Stanley Kubrick. Me and him have the same birthday.
Oh. Yeah. Tyler, the Creator, did an
episode. Yeah, that was so awesome, man.
Yeah, no, regular show's probably the best show on Cartoon Network. Adventure Time's up there, but like I just love regular.
See, I never watched Adventure Time, and I always heard it was great too.
It's pretty good.
Yeah,
it gets better if you watch the early episodes. It's like kind of like dumb.
Yeah,
but then like you can definitely tell where they were like, oh, people like this. And then they told the writers, they were like, oh, you guys can tell an actual story now. And then it like takes off. It's like. Finn the Human has some of the best character development on television.
Really?
Yes, it is. The journey he goes through, like over the course of the entire show, crazy.
I feel like regular show and Adventure Time, I don't think they're made by the same animation studio, but they have very similar styles of animation.
Yeah,
and very similar, not storytelling tactics, but like Adventure Time seems to me like it's really bonkers too.
Oh, Adventure Time's crazy.
Yeah.
But see, Adventure Time's crazy because, like, that's just the world they live in. Like, the world's always crazy.
Yeah, and they're like an Ice King.
Yeah.
And other,
whereas regular show, it's funny because, like, it's like just a normal day and a mundane task. And then all of a sudden, they break reality.
And then that's, like, another thing about regular show I love. Like you were saying, like, characters are just, like, there is no animate or inanimate or animal or anything that can't be like a living, breathing character or something like what's his name is a gumball machine.
Yeah, Benson.
Yeah. And I love regular show, man. That's awesome. I definitely need to fire up HBO Max and check it out now that we've talked about it. So, anything else you want to bounce around here before we dive into the review?
I don't think so. You got anything?
Let me look at my notes here. I wrote these down for a reason.
What'd we get?
We could talk about how excited you are to see Morbius.
Oh, Jesus. I forgot. I blocked it from my brain.
Brett's so pumped up to watch Jared Leto.
Dude, I was on the front lines defending this man's name.
I know what's going to happen. You're going to go see it and you're going to be like, the critics are all wrong. It's so great.
Well, let me tell you. No, because I'll tell you. I have a little bit of hope left.
Yeah.
Because you see, I love Venom. Venom and Venom 2 are so good. They're just fantastic movies. I love watching them.
I don't know about fantastic.
They are. I love rewatching them. They're just a fun time, right? Especially Venom 2. But I was on the front lines defending that first Venom movie because Dad was like, Venom can't hold his own. It doesn't look that good, blah, blah, blah. And then it came out, and then critics were saying that it wasn't that good. Critics did not like Venom. And I saw it, and it was great. and this is the same studio and the same people behind it.
Yeah.
And the trailers look amazing.
The trailers did look really cool.
I think the trailers look so good. And now all these reviews are coming out from the critics, and they're saying it's a bad movie. And they're way worse than they were for Venom, though, I will say. They're being way meaner to Morbius than they ever were to Venom.
Yeah, I didn't think Venom was as critically panned.
No, definitely not to this extent. But, like, people didn't think it was a good movie.
See, I think it's a bummer because, like, I think Morbius is such a cool character. Yeah. I love Blade.
I'm sure we've talked about it before. Regardless of what people said about it, it made $1 bajillion.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, like, I love Blade, and I know we've talked about that before, but in the comics, Blade and Morbius's paths cross quite a few times, and I feel like that would be great if this movie did well.
Morbius had a deleted cameo in Blade 2.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Of him standing on the rooftop. Yeah.
Or was that the first Blade?
It was one of them.
Okay. I think it might have been the first one.
It probably was.
But yeah, it would be really nice if they could intertwine that with the upcoming Blade, but I don't know if that's going to happen. Yeah. So, especially being that they're kind of two separate studios still.
Yeah, well, my hopes are high, but I'm going to go see it. I'm going to give it a chance, but things aren't looking good, especially from what I've been hearing about it. So, I don't know if it still counts as a spoiler because they literally are using it to market the movie now.
I know what you're talking about.
Just to give people any reason at all to go see it.
Yeah. We're talking about the same thing.
Yeah, he's in the trailer. Yeah, and every trailer he's in, all those scenes that are in the trailer, they cut them from the movie. He was supposed to be an actual character in the movie, and they cut him out to make him that in the movie. I don't know. It's stupid.
No sense.
It's so dumb.
That would sell tickets right there, just knowing that he would be in the movie.
Yeah, and now people, and he was in the trailer, so people are going to go see it, and they're like, "Oh, where's it taking place?" And then, I mean, I guess that does confirm that it's not natively in there.
That's Sony, right?
Yeah.
Sony has such a hard time of like competitively and strategically marketing their product. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Fingers crossed for Craven, I guess. I do like that actor.
I love the casting of Aaron Taylor Johnson. I think, man, that would be a really cool villain in checking to make sure you hit record.
I was just checking. I was checking the time this time.
Okay. But yeah, I think that Craven with Spider-Man with Tom Holland, that would be a really cool removal from the last three movies. You know what I mean? Is he having his own solo movie?
Yeah,
Craven
it's
is?
just called. Yeah, it's just Craven's movie.
Okay, I wonder how that's gonna.
Yeah, and I don't mind Sony having their own universe where it's just the villains doing their own thing.
Yeah, I don't either, but at the same time, they're villains.
Yeah. You can't make every villain an anti-hero just so you can sell a movie.
Venom was an anti-hero. Well, Morbius was an anti-hero too.
Was he?
Yeah, there's a lot of... I mean, really, you can make the argument that Venom's more of a villain than Morbius, to be honest. Yeah,
I don't know a lot about Morbius.
Morbius has way smaller of a catalog than what Venom does, but... Now, Craven, I think he's just like flat out a villain, though, isn't he?
Well, he's only a villain to Spider-Man. Like, he's not a criminal in the sense that he like goes.
What's his beef with Spider-Man? Does he just want to kill Spider-Man to be the biggest?
He just considers Spider-Man to be the ultimate hunt.
Okay.
Like, Craven the Hunter is literally just a guy who hunts big animals.
Yeah, big game.
And then he saw Spider-Man and was like, "That'd be a challenge."
He's like Predator, dude.
So like, he's not a villain in the sense that like any superhero would look at him and be like, "You're a criminal."
Craven,
he literally just wants to kill Spider-Man to say that he did it.
Craven needs to have like a crossover with Predator because cool. Like it's like big game hunter versus big game hunter. That would be tight.
Yeah, so fingers crossed for Morbius, I guess. But I mean, it's not looking great.
Hopes are high. I hope it does good.
I hope it does good. But I mean, you showed me that meme earlier of
that's hilarious.
Darth Maul.
Yeah. So I showed Brett a meme earlier that was like two separate images. It was in Phantom Menace when Darth Maul ignites his double-bladed lightsaber. And like it said Jared Leto over Darth Maul. And then the one side that was ignited already said worst DC movie. And then the bottom picture had the other side ignited and it said worst Marvel movie too.
He's double dipping.
And Jared Leto is actually a pretty good actor sometimes.
I've never seen him in anything other than as the Joker and then now
Really?
Morbius. Yeah. I know he's in that House of Gucci. I'm not going to see that.
I'm not going to watch that either. That looks like a snooze fest.
Yeah.
But I
love me some Anne Hathaway, but
I don't know if I've talked to you before about Blade Runner 2049.
You have mentioned it. Is he in that?
He's a side character in that, and he really gets to chew some scenery. No, he doesn't really chew because his character is kind of backwards. He's kind of quieter, but he plays that role really well. He's kind of he's not a cyborg, but he's got modifications on his body and stuff. He fits that universe really well.
Oh, I got you.
Jared Leto's just a weird looking guy anyway.
Yeah. He's just a weird guy, period.
Yeah. 30 Seconds to Mars used to rip though.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's the only other thing I know that he's ever been a part of.
I think the 30 Seconds to Mars I like though, you would not like. Because their first album, they were actually a rock band. They actually played instruments and kind of were badass. And you probably like 30 Seconds to Mars from 10 years ago where they sound like Imagine Dragons or something.
I don't like Imagine Dragons that much.
That much? Does that mean you do like them a little bit?
Like some of their songs. I like the popular ones, but like Believer's a good song.
I don't even know that song. I'm not going to throw shade though, because I'm sure if we played some tunes that I enjoy on here, we would lose listeners.
Dude, I listen to dad rock and weird alternative music, like the Front Bottoms. I don't know if you ever heard of the Front Bottoms.
I've heard of the Front Bottoms.
Yeah, they're probably my second favorite band of all time. I guess generally, if you had to generalize it, I guess you would say they're rock.
Yeah,
but it's weird sounding rock.
Whenever you say you listen to dad rock, are you talking about like
Billy Joel and
Oh, okay. Well, I thought you were gonna say well, I loved Peacemaker and I really liked Wigwam, so I've been getting into hair metal, bunch of glam rock.
Yeah, no, Billy Joel and other ones that I can't think of right now.
The
Honestly,
Beatles.
Yeah.
Do you really listen to the Beatles?
A couple of their songs. I have a problem where I don't really like artists as much as I like songs, individual songs.
Yeah.
I have a 311 hours long playlist of songs, just any a bunch of different genres, mostly rock-ish.
Yeah.
But it's and I'm from people that would never listen to any of their other songs. It's I like this song.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to listen to it. See, I couldn't call myself, I wouldn't say I'm a fan of those artists. I like that song.
I hate when that happens to me whenever I hear a specific song from a specific artist. And I'm like, damn, that song slaps. Mm-hmm. Now I listen to more from their catalog. It's wow, that was the one, huh?
Yeah.
That was it. I guess I'll move on. Mm-hmm. Speaking of moving on, I think I'm done rambling about other random stuff. I mean, we could talk about Kenobi
got
moved
up 2 days, but we're getting 2 episodes instead of 1.
So, woohoo!
Woo! 2 episodes of Kenobi.
Get excited about that. Can never have too much excitement for Kenobi. All right, we're going to go ahead and get
Kill
into
Bill
Kill
time.
Bill.
Time to kill Bill, but not in this one.
Yeah, so this movie was originally wrote to be one big-ass film. And obviously, for marketing purposes, money talks.
Is that actually why? Was it written as one film?
That, and I think that they did agree that it would just be easier to explain in 2 films. Yeah. And I'm glad they did. Like you said earlier, we went ahead and watched both of them. We're just going to review the first one.
Yeah.
But it is good they broke them up because they are 2 different styles, maybe.
Save ourselves some work. Review Volume 2 for next episode.
No, we'll save that down the line. Whenever
make them wait for it.
Yeah, whenever we get a Patreon, we'll make them beg. Oh, we loved your review of Volume 1. We must have Volume 2.
Please.
Yeah, spoiler alert for that. Volume 1's better.
Yeah, I maybe not better, but more enjoyable.
What do you say objectively?
I said objectively, Volume 2 is a better movie.
I think that's a great way to put it.
Subjectively, Volume 1 is the better movie of the 2.
So this movie came out in 2003. Like I said, directed by Quentin Tarantino.
I came out in 2003.
Brett, this movie and you have a connection.
Oh, it was meant to be. This is my first Quentin Tarantino movie I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You were pretty thoroughly
No, I was. I enjoyed it. I really did like it.
Like I said earlier, stars Uma Thurman, David Carradine, Lucy Liu, Vivica A. Fox, Daryl Hannah. This movie had a budget of $30 million. A lot of money.
I'm not sure where a lot of that went. hiring stunt fighters.
Well, what I saw earlier was this was filmed on location in several different places. It actually was
okay.
filmed in Japan.
Oh, well, that's where it went.
So
that's where the money went.
I feel like a lot of movies get filmed in Canada. Is it just cheaper to film in Canada, or
a lot of movies get filmed in Canada or Georgia, and it's like something about their tax laws for filming are cheaper or something. I think I saw that somewhere. It's like costs less money to film in Georgia than it does most other places, because if you like strike a deal with
just Georgia,
a certain production, because you see the Georgia Peach at the end of a lot of movies. Yeah. It's because I guess it's cheaper to film in Georgia. Something like there's like a law or something that makes it easier and more productive to film in Georgia than other places.
Wild. I did not know that.
And also, I guess the same thing applies to Vancouver.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like anytime there is a cityscape filmed in a movie, it happened to be filmed in Vancouver. Yeah. Ryan Reynolds is from Vancouver.
Yes.
He's Vancouver native.
Deadpool was shot in Vancouver.
Yes, so he got to film it at home.
And everyone was mad at him because for the bridge scene, they actually shut down a real bridge. And I guess in the news, they didn't say Deadpool production team shuts down bridge. They said Ryan Reynolds shuts down major bridge. Yeah. He talked about it in an interview I saw the other day.
Just put his name on it.
Yeah.
So this movie, like I said, had a $30 million budget. Its U.S. gross was $22.2 million.
Oh.
Worldwide gross was $180.9 million.
Oh, all right.
So
there's a little bit of profit there.
Yeah, it made money. And like we said earlier, Quentin Tarantino's movies aren't specifically for everyone, but I feel like, would you not agree that he's probably one of like the higher regarded directors in Hollywood?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I would say he's like top 5 working directors right now.
Yeah.
A lot of people would put him up there with, your Nolans and David Finchers and any of those types. This movie was scored and the soundtrack, original music by the RZA from Wu-Tang Clan. My buddy Jack, he loves like old school hip hop, like 90s hip hop, big Wu-Tang Clan fan. And he listens to like the RZA, the GZA, and then Ghostface Killer, Redman, Method Man.
There's a lot more members of the Wu-Tang Clan than
I'm missing a couple. There's like 8 or 9.
I like Brockhampton.
I don't think Brockhampton is in Wu-Tang Clan.
No, I mean like it has you said it has like 8 or 9 members.
Who's Brockhampton?
It's a band. It's like
that's the band's name? Brockhampton?
Yeah, the band's name is Brockhampton, which
is Brockhampton in the band?
No, Brockhampton isn't a person. Brockhampton is a street that the front man grew up on. They actually broke up recently. My buddy Caleb's I don't care for him that much, but my buddy Caleb's a huge fan of them. They have like 8 or 9 people. And they're like a rap boy. They cite themselves as the first ever rap boy band.
Rap boy band.
Yeah.
Slipknot has like 8 or 9 members.
Also, I was right. It's tax reasons. It's cheaper. The taxes are cheaper if you film in Georgia. Also, they allow Atlanta, Georgia specifically. They also allow.
Well, there's your big city.
Yeah, they also allow for year-round filming.
Which that's probably a big deal.
Places don't. Yeah, so the tax stuff and the year-round filming are why most production companies shoot in Georgia.
I always get like so pumped up when something's filmed in Pittsburgh. Like just
when they destroyed Pittsburgh Stadium in The Dark Knight Rises.
Dude, Heinz Field, man, that was awesome. You know that like the Steelers like had cameos.
Yeah,
like Big Ben was in there, and like Mike Wallace and Heinz Ward. Heinz Ward was the dude that was running the kickoff back and didn't die. Yeah,
I haven't seen that movie in so long. Did they go like in universe? Were they in Pittsburgh, or are they telling us that Gotham City?
They were calling Gotham City. It was filmed in Pittsburgh. There was a lot of scenes filmed in Pittsburgh, but they didn't just film in Pittsburgh. There's other like city images in the film that were different cities, not just Pittsburgh.
But I mean in the characters of Bane and Batman.
Yeah.
Did he go to Pittsburgh?
No, they were in Gotham.
Are they telling us that Pittsburgh Stadium and the Steelers are in Gotham?
Yes.
Okay.
So the team was not the Pittsburgh Steelers. They were the Gotham City Rogues.
Were they?
Yeah, you could
notice that.
Yeah, you could get like merch and stuff from Gotham City Rogues.
That's cool.
Had like a little bandit with a mask on, and like Under Armour put out like Gotham City Rogue merch.
Awesome.
Yeah. I remember wanting some really bad, and I never got any.
Also, not Pittsburgh Stadium. It's Heinz Field.
Heinz Field.
I just
no. You could be right because the for like big professional sporting arenas, they always have goofy names because it's just a contract they have with some company. Like Heinz Field is, with
Heinz Ketchup.
Yeah, with Heinz
I don't
Ketchup.
know if you guys haven't been to Heinz Field, I didn't know this before the first time I went to a football game with Dad.
Yeah.
The Heinz is exactly what you think it is. They have giant
Bottles
animatronic bottles of ketchup that pour out fake ketchup when a good thing happens during the game.
When they get in the red zone.
It is ridiculous. I was so confused.
Your Pittsburgh Steelers have just entered the Heinz red zone.
Yeah.
Enjoy thick and rich, creamy Heinz ketchup from your local Giant Eagle.
I thought it was a coincidental name. No, they own that stadium and they promote with giant bottles of ketchup.
Well, what I was saying was their contract with Heinz brand is coming up, and they want to renew, but it might not happen. Like,
really?
Yeah, like just for example, there's other stadiums like the Miami Dolphins play at Hard Rock Stadium, like Hard Rock Cafe, and San Francisco 49ers play at Levi's Field.
Oh.
So, yeah.
They've got giant pairs of jeans, and they enter the blue zone.
The Cowboys play at AT&T Stadium. So, I mean, they're all sponsored, and they all have, like, rotating names. Yeah.
Cool.
But anyways, I would like to rewatch the Nolan Batman films. I haven't watched them in a while. Anyways, what made us get on Nolan's Batman? Oh, yeah, Quentin Tarantino. He's great.
Yeah. We were talking about filming locations, then you brought up Pittsburgh, and I brought up this field in Nolan's Batman.
I thought we got to it because I said Tarantino's like up there with your Nolans and, your other great directors working.
Did you say Nolan?
I did, yeah.
Oh,
I said
completely unrelated. I didn't even notice.
Oh, gee, Brett, thanks for ignoring me.
Well, no, it just
No, you're good. You're good.
Didn't retain it, the names that you said.
This is, I believe the movie states this, Quentin Tarantino's fourth film.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's only made 12 thus far, 12 or 13, maybe, something like that. I could be wrong.
You're asking the wrong guy. This is the first one I've ever seen.
I'm not going to sit on here and try and ramble and figure them all out right now. It's irrelevant. But, that's pretty much all the background info I have on this. As I stated at the beginning, this is one of my favorite movies, like my gut instinct. Like, I love this movie so much. And I think you can understand why I love it. Like I said, it's just totally rewatchable. Mm-hmm. Uma Thurman is such a badass in this movie. This movie has a lot of...
she's a very unconventional action hero, but she does it so well.
Right? Yeah. This movie's like really holds back the reins on that like signature Quentin Tarantino dialogue. We're going to have to get together and watch some more Tarantino movies. Mm-hmm. If anybody listens...
I really want to watch Django. Django's like... Because I love Jamie Foxx and I love cowboys.
Well, I'm glad you watched a Tarantino movie now and you understand his signature sense of humor. Because I'm telling you, every Tarantino movie, there's at least one or two scenes that's going to have you like busting a gut.
Yeah, little background. I went into this movie thinking Quentin Tarantino was this very artsy, pretentious...
You thought he was like Stanley Kubrick, Francis Ford Coppola. Like,
very serious and sullen director.
Highbrow,
Yeah, highbrow. That's a good word.
Not at all.
And then Kill Bill started and I felt like I was watching a Saturday morning cartoon. It was the funniest, campiest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
and I loved it.
I love this movie so much. As I told you before we watched it, this is like an homage to Tarantino's love for like classic 70s Shaw Brothers Kung Fu movies, which, I haven't watched a lot of them. I've watched like the 36 Chambers and some of the bigger ones, but which I guess I should have brought that up. Gordon Liu, I'm not 100% sure on my pronunciation there. I apologize. But the guy that plays as Johnny Mo, he is from a bunch of the old Kung Fu movies.
You did mention it.
Yeah. Well, I didn't mention it on the pod, but I'm telling you earlier.
Yeah, sorry.
And then I also told you earlier, Hattori Hanzo is played by Sonny Chiba, who also is an not infamous, but a famous...
The best character.
Yeah, Sonny Chiba's great, man. But with all that said, anything else you want to touch on prior to me diving into this plot?
No, let's hit the plot.
Okay, we'll get to the plot. This is where we can really... I'm excited to talk about some things here. All right, so Kill Bill Vol.1. A woman in a wedding dress, the bride, lies wounded in a chapel in El Paso, Texas, having been attacked by the Deadly Viper assassination squad. She's laying there, bleeding, dying, as the leader, Bill, begins to have a almost evil villain signature monologue, exposition dump here. And she tells Bill that she is pregnant with his baby just before he shoots her in the head. Jump forward 4 years later. Having survived this attack, the bride goes to the home of Vernita Green, also known as Copperhead, one of the members of the Deadly Viper assassination squad, planning to kill her. Both women were members of the Deadly Vipers, which has since disbanded, and Vernita now leads a normal suburban family life. They engage in a knife fight, which is interrupted when Vernita's young daughter, Nikki, arrives home from school. The bride agrees to meet Vernita at night to settle the matter, but when Vernita tries to shoot the bride with a pistol hidden in a box of cereal, the bride throws a knife into Vernita's chest, killing her. Nikki happens to be behind the bride when this happens and witnesses all this, and the bride offers her a chance to avenge her mother's death when she gets older, should she choose to do so. Alright, so I gotta stop here. The opening sequence there, where it says the bride gets shot in the head, and Bill's kind of talking to her, this is in black and white, and this is kind of something that Tarantino jumps around with here in the film.
Yeah.
I think I told you upstairs earlier, but later in the film, like the big battle at the House of Blue Leaves, that had to be black and white because this film was going to get slapped with an NC-17 rating for all the blood. Which it has.
I like that they took that limitation and ran with it and made it a stylistic choice for the whole movie.
Not just one scene.
Looking weird for that one moment.
Right.
And then it carries on to the sequel too, which I thought was cool.
They use it for like the car driving sequences and stuff like that. It works. It works really well. And there's a lot of creativity here with like the way things are shot, in my opinion. Like we talked earlier, they do a lot of like random split screen, jumps back to widescreen, split screen again. And they use this for a lot of the action sequences too, and shows you like different angles of shit happening instead of just one specific angle of the fight sequence. And it really looks cool. Whenever she first attacks Vernita Green at her house, this is whenever you just weren't really prepared for what you were getting into.
It was like whiplash because that opening scene with the black and white and his monologue.
It seems really serious.
Yeah, it was like, okay, so this is what I expected from Quentin Tarantino, and then almost Cowboy Bebop vibes.
Yeah, it's like a little bit. It's like doing the
dude. Every time they use that sound bit, it killed me because it's a big meme sound.
I really think that's from this movie.
Is it from Kill Bill?
Signaturely from this movie.
Yeah, and I've never heard it outside of the context of those memes, and it was just so hard. It was so funny.
So with the fight sequence, that's when you realize whenever you hear the wham, pow, slash, all the sound effects. Yeah, and they just completely destroy Vernita's house, and whenever her daughter Nikki comes home, they kind of settle down and go to have a discussion in the kitchen about having a fight later, something I didn't tell you earlier. So whenever Vernita goes to shoot her with the handgun she has hidden in the cereal box, the brand of cereal that was on there was one of those Quentin Tarantino not real products.
Oh, really?
It was called Kaboom cereal.
That's funny.
Yeah, so a little tongue-in-cheek action there right off the bat. Also, I just got to say this because this is one of like the two things I actually wrote down. Another shot that I just really liked whenever she goes to sheath her knife.
It's a close up,
a very close up of how nuanced she is at putting her knife away, and I just really like that. And it's said later in the film and added on to later in the film, but the bride is known to be the deadliest woman on the planet with an edged weapon. So. All right, so we jump around here a little bit, back to 4 years prior. So jumping from 4 years after her getting shot in the head, we jump back 4 years prior, and it's showing the police investigating the massacre at the wedding chapel. The sheriff discovers that the bride is still alive but comatose. In the hospital, Deadly Viper L. Driver prepares to assassinate the bride via lethal injection, but Bill aborts the mission at the last moment, considering it dishonorable to kill the defenseless bride. Awakening from her 4-year coma, the bride is horrified to find that she is no longer pregnant. She kills a man who tries to rape her and a hospital worker who has been selling her body while she was comatose. She takes the hospital worker's truck and teaches herself to walk again. You want to touch base on a couple things here?
Yeah. First thing that immediately popped in my head that I wanted to talk about, the way she kills the nurse, the doctor guy that's been selling her body.
Yeah.
She hits him with the tried and true head in the doorway technique.
Okay, so prior to that, I just want to say,
she bites that guy's face off.
She rips this dude's face clean off. Mm-hmm. It doesn't show it. It shows the aftermath, and it shows her like with his bottom lip in her mouth getting stretched ridiculously long.
Yeah.
And then the way she takes down the nasty nurse dude that's like selling her body, she like
it's an ankle slash.
Cuts his Achilles tendon. This is nasty looking.
But I would go on record as saying the head in the doorway technique might be the most brutal way to hurt or take out anyone. Biggest example being the scene in Daredevil with Kingpin, and he used a car door in that one. But like anytime it's used, this is like, okay, this person means business.
Yeah.
Joker, dude, that scene in Joker where he kills that guy with the door. I don't get sick at violence. No. I don't care. I play violent video games. I watch violent movies. It's not something that phases me. That scene made me almost throw up. Like, literally, I was sick to my stomach and had to look down for a large portion of that scene because it's so real.
I think I was going to say, I think that's one of the reasons why that specific scene in that movie, Joker, is so hard to watch. It's because that movie is so grounded in reality.
They play it so straight. It's just like, oh my god.
Is that the same one? Like after that happens, and like the small person. Yeah. Well, he's like starting to walk away, and he's like like scares him.
Yeah.
It was
and he can't reach the door lock.
It's like, man, that's Joker.
Oh, you know what? It might not have been it might not have been a head in the doorway technique. I think it was scissors.
Was it scissors?
It might have been.
No, I thought
was it the head in the doorway, or was he just kicking him? I don't remember. Either way, it was blunt force, and it was awful.
Yeah. And like I said, that movie was just so grounded in reality.
That's a movie that I think is a perfect movie that I never want to watch again.
I know. I agree. I can remember leaving the theater with Alyssa and being like, that movie was awesome, but it just depressed me.
Dude.
I just felt sad the whole time. So anyways, whenever she gets up and goes to use the hospital worker's truck, she climbs in the back and begins to try to teach herself to walk again. So right off the bat here, and this is something else I had to make sure Brett was well aware of.
Yeah.
Go ahead and take that reality waistband you have and stretch it out to the max.
It stretches it hard.
She does end up regaining her ability to walk, obviously. Resolving to kill Bill and the other deadly vipers, the bride picks her first target, O-Ren Ishii, now the leader of the Tokyo Yakuza. After witnessing the Yakuza murder her parents when she was a child, O-Ren took vengeance on the Yakuza boss and replaced him after training as an elite assassin. I'm going to stop right here. This whole sequence where it talks about her plan to kill the rest of the Viper Squad, and it gives the background on O-Ren as the bride narrates it.
Oh, yeah.
This is all an animated sequence. It's anime. I should have looked up what animation studio did this.
You want me to check it real quick?
Yeah, go ahead and browse through that. So this is like a 10, 12-minute segment in the film that shows O-Ren being a young girl and her parents being murdered in front of her. And not only is this entire sequence just like flawlessly animated, the soundtrack that RZA has playing here is like really, really like deep Western vibes, which I love. But at the same time, which I guess you could find a lot of similarities between cowboys and samurai. But there's like a dude with a samurai sword that ends up killing her parents with it. And it's really, really graphic and just more over-the-top blood. Granted, it's all animated. But
hand-drawn, too.
Yeah, and it's all hand-drawn. It looks so great. And I was telling Brett that I love, like, whenever there is, like, action happening in animation and hand-drawn animation, I almost love it more whenever it becomes distorted and a little bit over-exaggerated, like the motions and, like, the way the body is framed and everything. And it just looks really great.
The person who oversaw that section of the movie was the head producer for the production company Production IG. They mostly do anime movies. Okay. So they did the 2 anime films for Ghost in the Shell.
The original Ghost in the Shell?
Yeah.
Okay, well that right there.
And then they did a couple Attack on Titan movies.
Okay.
And then a bunch of other stuff I've never heard
Attack on Titan's awesome.
Actually, okay, it looks like they cover... They're responsible for mostly everything that involves Ghost in the Shell.
Okay.
Anything that has Ghost in the Shell attached to it, Production IG is responsible for it.
Have you ever watched the original Ghost in the Shell?
No. I didn't watch the one with, I can't remember her name. Scarlett Johansson. I didn't watch that
I didn't watch that either. But I watched, the anime, the good one. The one that was good. I actually have it on Blu-ray.
They did an Evangelion movie too. Also, I don't know if you know what this is, but Halo Legends in 2010.
I've heard of Halo Legends. I've never watched it.
Okay.
So I guess I'm not a true fan. But, Brett, what did you think of this anime sequence?
Oh, I thought it was great. I loved the style of it. I liked the narration over it. I liked what you were saying about how it being hand-drawn, some of the frames are just like straight up scribbles at some point.
Yeah, it's so sloppy.
There's a fight scene between two guys like punching each other, and like one of the guys barely has like an intelligible face.
He almost
like
does.
He's basically just like a blob dude.
Yeah.
But like it was really well done.
I love when the dad is stabbed in the back and he withdraws the sword from the dad's back. The blood, the way it sprays out of his back is the most ridiculous, over-the-top shit I've ever seen.
I think it's hilarious. Yeah, we both laughed.
and then, like, whenever she's on top of Matsumoto and withdraws her sword
it sprays so far that her silhouette of her holding
there's like an outline
sword
of no
there's
blood.
An outline on the wall. I thought it was really funny that her handgun blew those dudes' legs clean off.
Yeah, she's laying down there with a Desert Eagle 50 cal.
But no, that whole section was just really well done. I thought it was really cool, the stylistic shift. I love multimedia movies. I
think this is one of Quentin Tarantino's most creatively shot films.
Yeah, I love movies that switch medium every once in a while or like switch their style around.
Right.
Just to call back to what we did last episode, 500 Days of Summer. I love the part where it's a montage of him being sad told through the guise of old black and white silent films.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool. So I do love a good style switch, and especially when it's animated.
Yeah, I totally agree. And even if it's something like as slight as just a overall like color scheme for the film or a palette or something like that, because like how we were saying with 500 Days of Summer later in the movie, it's like, or most of the movie in general, I believe he used the word vignette. Like it has this vignette feel to it, and I like when a movie will just like shift something tonally like that, just to kind of go along with the mood of the way the film's playing out. But yeah, that I love anime, and I know you do too, and that whole sequence is awesome. I wish more movies would do shit like that. And that's just another feather in Quentin Tarantino's cap on how creative he is as a filmmaker. So anyways, I lost my spot here. The bride travels to Okinawa, Japan to obtain a sword from the legendary swordsmith Hattori Hanzo, who is sworn to never forge a sword again. After learning that her target is Bill, Hanzo's former student, he relents to his oath and crafts his finest sword for her, taking a month to finish the job. We should probably stop here and talk a little bit about our boy, Hattori Hanzo.
Dude, I think this might be my favorite sequence in the whole movie. I love this guy.
I think one of the best things about this, and like we just said with tonal shifts, the introduction to Hattori Hanzo is like really, really funny. He's a funny character. His lines, the way he delivers them is really, really funny. And his interaction with the bride is funny.
Yeah.
She orders sake, and like his little minion in the back is always like being a pain in his ass, and he's like screaming at him.
Yeah.
And he shifts back and forth from speaking in Japanese to like speaking in English, and his accent is really funny.
Yeah. Very good.
Yeah, very good.
He like holds it out. I loved his line, which was spoken in Japanese, but the guy was arguing about
when he says he'd be general.
Yeah. Hanzo says, if you were a general, I'd be emperor, and I'd still be making the fish, and you'd still be getting that damn sake.
Yeah. He throws a knife at him.
Yeah.
Like, get the sake. Yeah, it's great.
Warm sake. Who drinks warm sake in the middle of the day? She can drink the sake whenever she pleases.
Yeah. And so, but also, after this funny stuff happened, this funny business, rather, she states why she's there. and then the tone shifts. It gets very serious, somber. That's whenever he realizes she knows who he is, and he lets her come upstairs and check out the catalog and see all of his swords. And it doesn't show like a montage of him making the sword or anything, but we jump in time to a month later when the sword is completed, and the way he presents it to the bride is really cool.
There's another good line, yeah.
There's a badass line right there. But the way, whenever he's presenting her with the katana, they're in like, what's the word I'm looking for here? Like traditional garb, like samurai robes. And like Brett said, he says it in Japanese too, which just makes it even harder.
Oh, yeah.
But he says, I can say with full humility that this is the finest sword I've ever made.
Dude, I'm going to add, I will say with no ego to my vocabulary. That's such a good
what he says.
phrase.
That's what he says.
Yeah.
He says,
I say this with no ego.
This is the finest sword.
Blade. Yeah.
And then he says, if in your journey you should encounter God will get cut. Yeah.
Just so good.
Yeah. So he presents her with this sword, and then the bride ends up tracking O-Ren back to the House of Blue Leaves in Tokyo. And this is like a big suave kind of like, it's a restaurant, but it's like a club almost too. I probably said like 3 or 4 times, like, man, I'd love to go hang out at the House of Blue Leaves.
Yeah.
It just looked
you were simping for the House of Blue
It looked
Leaves.
like a cool pad, man. There was some dancing going on.
I did like the band, the 5, 6, 7, 8s.
There were some good tunes, and it looked like it had some decent grub.
They look cool.
You know, it looked like a pretty swanky pad. Nice little dance floor. So anyway, she tracks them there, and once there, O-Ren's assistant, Sophie Fatale, which is a hilarious name.
Yeah, she's French.
Yeah. Leaves to go to the bathroom, and this is the bride's opportunity to jump on Sophie and use her as bait. She takes her out and calls out O-Ren and her minions. And once they all come out, she amputates her arm. And this is whenever you really realize, like, shit's about to get real. When she cuts her arm off, blood just sprays out ridiculously. Like,
now, I would like to know if wounds react like that in real life.
Well, I think it depends.
Because I know arteries do keep pumping.
I don't think they spray like that.
This is like sprinkler shower head
I think it's
hose levels.
I love it. I would not like it. After watching it this way, if somebody edited it to where blood just kind of like dripped out or like poured out, like realistically, I wouldn't like it.
Yeah, no.
I love the gratuitous, ridiculous spraying.
It is hilarious.
It's like maybe everybody that gets like an arm or a head lobbed off just has like really high blood pressure.
Super strong heart.
Yeah, just pumping out everywhere.
Blood out.
So she takes this bitch's arm off and calls out O-Ren. After this, a huge fight ensues in like little segments between the bride and the Crazy 88s, also including O-Ren's personal bodyguard, Gogo Yubari. So you were saying earlier watching the movie, Gogo had a sweet weapon.
Yeah, it's called a meteor hammer. There's this guy on TikTok. I can't remember his name right now, but I'm sure if you like looked up TikTok meteor hammer guy.
Shout out guy on TikTok with the meteor
hammer guy. He's really good with it, and he's always talking about how it takes a long time to learn, but his is just like a rock on some string, and it is still like, because the whole idea of a meteor hammer is momentum.
Yeah,
you build, like you saw her swinging it around her neck and her legs. The idea is that you keep swinging it and wrapping it around all these body parts to build momentum, and then you flick it all out at once, and it's like. Just like
it's kinetic energy.
Yeah,
and you build kinetic energy, and whenever it gets released, all that energy of the motion
just
is
right
in one
into
shot.
Whatever it's hitting, and it's crazy damaging. Like if you were to use that on a person, and hers was metal and like spiky, and like this dude,
it almost had like a mace or a flail head on it.
Yeah, and this dude on the TikTok just uses like a rock and some string, and it's still breaking through boards. He shot a cinder block in half with it.
Oh man,
yeah, it's crazy.
You're gonna have to show me this video. That sounds badass.
It's really cool.
So there's this band that I watched recently. They're called Vane, and they're cool dudes. I watched a live stream that they had posted online like 3 years ago, and between a couple of the songs on the set, like the dudes recording the live session was just like kind of interviewing them too, asking them what they like to do, and they were talking about how much they love video games. and they were like, well, what's a video game you guys have been playing a lot recently? They're like, Devil May Cry 5. I was like, my guys.
Nice.
But when I watched them a couple months ago, their lead singer, he doesn't have a cordless mic. His mic is corded. And he does all the cool mic tricks, spinning it around on stage and throwing it out and pulling it back and stuff. Yeah, I was utterly impressed, and I was like, my guy would be good with a meteor hammer.
My first favorite type of weapon, swords. Second favorite type of weapon, anything chain related.
We already said earlier, a katana is the best.
Yeah. Kunais, just straight up like what Ghost Rider does, where it's just a chain.
Yeah.
Meteor hammers, anything that involves using a chain and like swinging it around and doing cool stuff with it. That's just like the coolest. Like, again, Scorpion, Mortal Kombat.
Yes. You cannot beat Scorpion.
That entire scene, the opening scene of the Mortal Kombat movie, where he's taking out all those guys with his makeshift kunai. Oh. Yeah.
He isn't it like a gardening tool? Oh.
His wife's gardening tool.
It's so tough, dude.
It was awesome.
Like, for the flaws that the Mortal Kombat movie had, I believe you said this. When it was getting it right, it was getting it right.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. They could have just made the whole movie about Scorpion versus Sub-Zero, and it probably would have been a better movie. Like, those were the best parts. The opening 30 minutes and the last 30 minutes.
Yeah. It's funny when a movie's biggest flaw is the main character.
Yeah, I know. It's hilarious. Well, let's not review Mortal Kombat here.
We'll save it for another episode.
Another day. So anyways, she dismantles the Crazy 88's O-Ren squad of fighters. It says on this synopsis, O-Ren squad of elite fighters. That's loosely used there. Elite.
I don't know if I would say elite.
A couple of them, maybe Johnny Moe and Go-Go.
Yeah.
And that's about it. The rest of them are fodder. Total cannon fodder.
But yeah, some of them are like 13.
Yeah, so she destroys all these people in like the most epic 1 versus 100 fight you ever see. At the conclusion of the fight, that she has another really badass line where she's standing up on the balcony, and there's some of these people were dead, but there's a lot of them moaning and like crawling around because like in this whole fight sequence, we just need to talk about this fight sequence for a few more minutes because I don't want to undersell it. This fight sequence is fucking nuts.
This is once again, this line he's about to tell you is once again said in Japanese.
Yeah. So, this just makes it tougher, dude.
All the best lines in this movie are said in Japanese. And
not to bring up Mortal Kombat again, but at the end of Mortal Kombat, whenever he says, I'm Scorpion, and I've come back from hell to seek vengeance on you, or whatever he says it in Japanese, but the only English word that he says is Scorpion.
Yeah.
He's just like,
Japanese is just such a cool language.
Such a hard language,
It just sounds like
tough.
you can say anything in Japanese and it sound like...
You can tell me you tied your little Bo Peep tennis shoes and it was like, damn, dude, he's scary. I'm getting away from that guy.
Either sounds profound or badass.
Yeah, it's like philosophical.
Yeah.
Like, it's probably not, but it sounded like
Shout out to the language of Japanese.
Yeah. Yeah, we need to learn Japanese, dude. So we can sound tough. Dude.
Yeah.
But anyways, after she cuts up all these dudes to pieces, like I said, there's some guys crawling around and stuff. She gets up on the balcony and she tells them all, for those lucky enough to still have their lives, leave now. But before you leave, do not take your limbs. They belong to me now.
Yeah.
Which is just so badass.
I'll tell you later.
But what was you going to touch base on people's limbs being lopped off?
No, it just occurred to me, now that we're talking about it again, that she got the your limbs belong to me now from when she was... Yeah. Because, yeah.
You're right. Good job.
Yeah.
Brett's very good at picking up on things in the film. He called what her name was.
I did.
Before it was revealed what her name was in episode 2, or volume 2, rather. And
if you say it at any point in time, I will bleep it.
That would be fun, just to use like a bleep on the editing. Yeah. I won't do it, though. Yeah.
For context, anytime they say the bride's name in the movie, they censor it.
Which is kind of pointless. I don't know why they do that, but it's fun though.
Yeah, it's just
with the way
fun
with
thing.
The way this movie is made and like the kind of swagger, not swagger, the personality that this movie has, it fits.
Yeah.
And like I said at the beginning, this is like an ode to old kung fu movies and like old 70s exploitation movies. So it just has that corny vibe. And some people might find that a turn off, but I love it.
No, I think it worked out great. I love just a fun movie.
I just got to say it one more time. I can't undersell this fight. This fight sequence is so badass.
Okay, just to make sure I'm not getting the movies mixed up. Is it in this fight scene where someone stands on a sword?
Yeah, no, you're thinking of Pai Mei whenever he's getting trained.
What do they stand on that's like ridiculously, they definitely could not be standing on that.
There's some wire foo in this fight sequence because Johnny Mo like Superman triple jumps up the balcony.
Well, if you watch it, he does use his like little tomahawk thing.
Like kind of clambers up.
But it's like, it doesn't even like really connect.
Right.
Like I feel like, because obviously he was on a wire.
Well, and then there's a
But
point.
they just were not trying to sell it at all. So he just kind of scales it.
There's a point where somebody has a sword stuck in like a post and she uses it to like bounce off of and get up on the balcony as well.
That might have been it.
And then there's also
these guys just don't like physics.
Yeah, and like Brett was saying, like you can tell there's so much shit on wires here, but it's fun. Like it's just fun.
It's just
like she does like a spinning kick and like hovers, like she crosses like 20-foot distance when she does. And then also there's this sequence where she ends up going akimbo with two swords and starts like doing like Eddie Gordo capoeira from Tekken, and it's just cutting dudes' legs, arms, heads off. And of course, every time something gets cut, there's just blood going everywhere.
Oh, for sure.
Like I said earlier, I think I've said like I said 1,000 times, but this film and this sequence in particular had to be edited and turned black and white to keep from getting an NC-17 rating.
Now, just to dial back just a second, the synopsis did not touch on the council scene.
I did not.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's not super important. I don't have like a bunch of profound stuff to say about it, but just for the sake of clarity, there's a scene after her backstory, before we see the adult version of her. I'm talking about the Oren Ishii.
Oren Ishii, you're right.
Oren Ishii. There's a scene. She's the head of the Yakuza. She is the boss of all the other bosses. And to show us this, there's a scene of her at a council meeting with all the rest of them.
Yeah, this happens immediately after the animation sequence.
Yeah, after the animation,
to show you what Oren's doing now.
Yeah. So Oren is not native Japanese. She is
Chinese American.
She's Chinese American, also Japanese. She's Chinese Japanese, born in America.
Yeah, that's what. You're
right.
Yeah,
that's what it was. And one of the Yakuza bosses has a problem with this. He's like, our fathers and their fathers ran this organization, and now it's being run by not even a full-blooded Japanese
He says,
person.
This council that I love with all my heart, more than my own children.
And so there's this really funny scene where she like tiptoe runs across the table.
It tries to be like a live action anime, dude. It's funny. I love it.
Really goofy tiptoe run across the table. It was very funny.
It doesn't even show her jump on the table. It's just like as soon as it's
just shots of her feet just like shuffling really fast.
The camera, as soon as he screams his profanity at her, cuts to her shuffling her feet across the table.
And then she decapitates him, and it does our classic big blood spurt.
It's hilarious,
and then she yells at all the guys, and she's like, if you have any problems with how I run this council, I am open to criticism. But if anyone has anything they'd wish to say about my nationality in a negative light, you can end up like this guy.
Yeah. I'm going to take your fucking head.
Yeah.
Just like this fucker here.
Yeah. Lucy Liu's crazy in this movie.
I didn't even say that's who it was.
She's
Lucy
tight.
Liu.
Yeah, Lucy Liu's tight.
Lucy Liu is beautiful.
Oh, she's very pretty.
Yeah, I've always thought that.
Add it to the list of Real Rendezvous baddies.
We're gonna we have to have a Real Rendezvous simp list. So add Lucy Liu to that list.
Drop Lucy Liu on the simp list.
Yeah, she's at the top for me right now because she's just she's fine in this movie.
But yeah, I just wanted to touch on this.
No, I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did. It further establishes how big of a badass Oren
I also just
really
wanted
is.
to talk about her really funny shuffle.
And then like when she cuts his head off, I don't know if you noticed this, but when she decapitates him, it's almost like his head stays on her sword for a minute, because when she cuts it off, it like kind of spins around and lands right on that dude's plate behind her. Yeah. Like you said, physics don't exist here.
Yeah. Which is great.
Yeah, we're all for it. So jumping back after she slays the Crazy 88s, one more thing about this fight sequence. At the end of the Crazy 88 fight sequence, this is like, what, a 10-minute sequence? I mean, it's long. Yeah. At the end of it, there is a little snippet that's all like the power goes out and all you can see is their silhouettes fighting.
Yeah.
With like the paper mache doors in the background. And it looks really, really cool.
I'm muted. I was muted that whole time. I was saying yeah. I was just agreeing with what Hunter was saying, but
yeah, you agree. You concur.
I didn't realize I was muted.
It's all right. Rookie mistake, bud. But anyways, so after this happens, she goes out behind the House of Blue Leaves, which is where Oren is, and they have a little conversation. And I think Quentin really wanted to dip into some atmosphere here.
Yeah.
And I do like it. It is kind of like a classical samurai duel. They face off, and Oren ends up getting bested by the bride.
Yeah, they have they have this funny exchange where Oren cuts her back, and she's like,
mocks her.
Yeah, she's like, you can't fight like a samurai, but I'll make sure you die like one. And then Uma Thurman gets back up. And then, she slices Oren's leg. And then they just take a pause for a moment. And Oren's like, I'm sorry for what I said about your sword abilities.
Yeah. I love whenever she asks her about her blade when she first comes out back. And she says, where did you get such a fine piece of steel? And the bride says, this is Hanzo steel. You lie. Gets so offended by it.
And then when she bests her, and keep in mind, she bests her by cutting off the very top of her scalp.
Yeah, it's like the upper quarter of her skull.
Yeah.
There's some brain that got cut out of there.
Yeah, and then she says, I guess it really was Hanzo steel.
Yeah. I felt a little underwhelmed with the final duel with Oren. I felt like it could have been a little bit better.
Yeah, they really... It's a lot of... Yeah, I will say.
But with that said, I think he wanted it to be like a traditional samurai duel.
Yeah, because there's a lot of just, that thing everyone does in a fight where no one wants to strike first. So it's just that standing and that circling. And then when they do strike, it's kind of like just like a pirate fight where they just clink, 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 and then they both back up from each other.
We get a lot of camera on the bride, camera on Oren, camera back to the bride slightly closer. Same thing with Oren. No dialogue, just some breathing.
Yeah.
And I get that he's trying to build a little bit of atmosphere here, but with how bonkers the rest of the movie was, we probably could have used a big badass boss fight.
I was expecting some backflips and some.
I don't really detract the overall film opinion though. With this.
No, definitely not.
Just slightly underwhelmed.
One fight scene a bad film does not make.
So after this,
I said that weird. I never understood that phrase. I always try and use it, but
what
I always feel like
say?
I say it wrong.
I didn't hear it. What was it?
I said a bad film one fight scene does not make.
You said it like Yoda.
Oh, actually, I think I just said it right just then. I said it wrong the first time I said it. Whatever.
I'm super confused.
Well, no. Have you never heard that? Have you ever heard something phrased like that?
Yeah.
I'll look it up.
I thought you sounded like Yoda.
No, because I know it's a real thing. I feel like I personally do it wrong whenever I try.
You sounded great. After defeating Oren and torturing Sophie for information about Bill and the other deadly vipers, the bride leaves Sophie alive at a hospital. This is meant to be a threat while going to kill her second target, Vernita. Bill finds Sophie and asks her if the bride knows that her daughter is still alive. And then that is the conclusion of Volume 1 of Kill Bill.
Yeah, that's Kill Bill. Very short movie, very quick. You get it done and over with. And it's a good ride. A little over an hour. An hour and 30 minutes, I think.
Yeah, I'll find it here.
Wait, no, not an hour and 30 minutes. It was...
An hour and 51 minutes.
Okay, there it is.
That's still pretty long.
Yeah.
It's longer than I thought. But anyways, so really it's all one story, Volume 1 and Volume 2. They just had to break it up for obvious reasons. But Brett, you go first. Tell us a little bit of what you like, what you didn't like.
This one's a hard one for me because I was telling you earlier because it's one of those movies where I don't have anything super duper positive or super duper negative to say. It was just a good movie that I enjoyed watching. I might say it's a great movie.
I kind of felt like you were going to have more complaints. But I'm really excited that you didn't.
I don't think I have a single truly negative thing that I could even put towards the movie.
Yeah,
there was nothing that shot out to me that I was like, oh, I didn't like that, or oh, I that's bad.
Right.
Like, the only negative thing I could say about it was that at points it seems a little too campy.
Yeah.
But again, it's trying to be.
Right.
So it's not really a negative. That's just how the movie is.
So the biggest things I like about this movie is, I don't want to say the graphic violence, but it's just so over the top. And I think that's one of the things I really love about it. Like you were saying, with it being campy, I don't think it's ever at a point campy to a flaw. And maybe some of that is because I'm going to create a term here, highbrow camp, because it's a $30 million budget.
Yeah.
And the film, like you said, it's super campy, but it's almost like it's quality camp. I don't know if that makes sense or not.
No, I would agree with that.
Because like the fight sequences are like 80% quality choreography, and then you have like 20% of like wire fu slow-mo axe flying through the camera. It's like,
I like that this movie doesn't even really have slow-mo. It just has like, they lower the frame rate of the clips.
Yeah. And then like you have all like the really goofy sound effects. Like not just the soundtrack, but just the sound effects in general. Like every time she like unsheathes her sword, it makes like this like almost tuning fork humming noise.
Yeah.
And then, every motion you get
you get your kung fu whooshes.
Like it's just over the top. But I love that. And it's such an easy story to follow because all it is a revenge tale. That's all it is.
The story is my favorite part of the movie, of both movies, but specifically, my favorite part is the plot and how it progresses. Like, the only reason we watched the second movie right after we watched this one is because I was so invested and I wanted to see where it went.
It's got a great cliffhanger, man.
Yes.
It's almost like
it really grabs you.
Whenever it says Bill asks if she knows if her daughter's still alive, the screen goes black.
It just cuts and the
that.
movie's over. It rolls the credits immediately after.
Could you imagine watching that in theaters and seeing that? That'd be so tight. But and I love that aspect to it. I love every single character. Every single character, there isn't any of them that I'm just like, man, why is this guy on the screen? Or why is this girl?
Yeah.
Like you said, Uma Thurman is such a unbeknownst, like, champion.
Yeah, but she kills it. She does so well.
Now, like,
she's intimidating.
Granted, she's been in, like, action stuff before. But,
has she?
Well, I mean, just like Batman and Robin. Or like, other stuff like that. I know that there's other action movies she's been in. But... Like you said in this movie, there's a lot of times where she really does come off as intimidating, and she's confident and imposes her will on pretty much everybody that she fights. She really doesn't like end up in much of a struggle. Well, that's not true, because there's a few points like whenever she fights Vernita Green, Vernita gets in some good blows, and if Vernita was a better shot, she probably would have killed the bride. But Uma Thurman's a badass. I thought that all the other side characters were either badass as well or funny. And a lot of that is just Quentin Tarantino having really good dialogue, really snappy dialogue. And I know you've never watched any other Tarantino movies, but if you like that poppy, snappy, funny, realistic dialogue.
I love me some realistic dialogue.
If you watch Pulp Fiction, it's almost like you're watching a bunch of characters' interactions and just like how realistic they can be.
Oh, yeah.
So, Pulp Fiction has a lot of really good dialogue. And Django, very similar. It's got some, like I told you earlier, it's got some scenes that are just like randomly really hilarious. So, but it's got so many redeeming qualities. And just the only negative I could say about it is probably like what you said. It's pretty campy, maybe to a fault. So it's probably not for everybody. I could see people getting like kind of like turned off by it, by it not being serious enough.
I did think of one more negative that I just thought about. I feel like Vernita did not have nearly as much of a presence as every other member of the what they call
Deadly Viper Assassination
Deadly Viper Assassination Club.
Oh, come on, man! You know it rolls right off the tongue.
Oh, for sure. But like across both movies, Ludi Lin from Mortal Kombat, Lucy Liu gets this huge build up in this big cool fight
She was
scene.
almost like made into like the main bad guy in the first movie.
But then in the second one, I know we're not talking about the second one, but in the second one, Bud, he has a whole arc and a build-up, and then comeuppance. And then the eye patch girl has a whole arc and a build-up. Bill, whole arc, whole build-up. Vanita Green shows up, they throw 4 punches, and then she dies.
I think one of the things...
And I know that scene and that killing is meant to introduce us to the world and what Uma Thurman's character is capable of.
You're right about that, yeah.
And I know it's meant to be an introduction, but I don't know. I just feel like you have this whole team, and every single member of that team gets their entire whole moment to shine, and then Vanita Green was there, and then she was gone.
Well, I think one of the things about that is with, like, Elle and Bill and Oren, they're still, like, kind of in the thick of that crime life, that assassin life, and Vernita Green is removed from that. Obviously, she has a daughter that's true. 4 years old. Mm-hmm. So I think maybe that kind of allows her death to be so quick.
Yeah.
And her arc to not really exist. But you are right, though.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was just a little disappointed because she's like, let's do this the old-fashioned way. We'll meet at this field after dark.
You could have had another badass fight scene, yeah.
And we'll cut each other to pieces.
Meet me at the ball diamond where I coach Little League. Like that could have been really fun.
And I was expecting to see this big fight scene, and then it's just. And I mean, expectation subversion is a good tactic too. But I don't know, especially in comparison to everyone else that got their moments.
Right.
She was just kind of there and gone, and it just felt a little weird.
So I know that we're not reviewing Volume 2 specifically, but you would agree that Volume 1 is the better film, right?
I think it's more. I think it's the funner film.
Okay. Say what you did earlier.
Objectively, Volume 2 is a better movie.
Okay.
In almost every way, Volume 2 is a better movie.
Yeah.
But I had way more fun watching Volume 1 than I did watching Volume 2.
Would you think that Volume 2 wraps the story up pretty well?
Yes. Volume 2 is perfect with how it paces itself and how it wraps things up and the backstory it gives us. But it's more of a movie, whereas I feel like Volume 1 is just something like just to have fun with.
Like you said, it's got that very Saturday morning cartoon feel.
Yeah. Like Volume 2 is a movie that you have to sit down and pay attention to because it's got all this plot and all these characters. And then, like, that's a movie.
Right.
And, it's the length of a movie. It's an hour longer than Volume 1 was.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like Volume 1 is just like, hey, you want to see some cool fight scenes? Cool. Here you go.
Yeah. You need to watch Grindhouse Presents. Have you ever heard of that?
Mm-mm.
It's a double feature that Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez did in, like, 07 or 08. And it's supposed to be set up like as if it's 1975 and you and your friends are going to a midnight double feature at the local movies. And it's just like schlocky exploitation movies.
That's funny.
He's in love with that whole vibe of classic cinema. And
which Volume 1 really has. It felt like a schlocky, campy kung fu movie. Yeah. Whereas Volume 2 felt like a more serious... it still has its schlocky, funny moments, but it definitely felt like more of a movie than Volume 1 did.
We need to get you to watch some more Quentin Tarantino, man, because he's definitely got more of that traditional film style and other ones. But all of them still have that signature humor that he has, and all of them just kind of like have certain things that get turned on their side.
I'm very interested in Django Unchained and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, they're both great. I would say my least favorite Quentin Tarantino movies are probably Reservoir Dogs. It's the most serious. It was his first film.
Yeah.
And then probably The Hateful Eight, to be honest.
Was that the Netflix one?
The Hateful Eight was on Netflix, yeah.
Okay.
He didn't make it specifically for Netflix.
Well, what was the Netflix original cowboy movie? It was like it had a stupid name. It was like a comedy.
Yeah, it was Adam Sandler movie.
Was it?
Yeah,
what was it called? It was something 7, I thought, or 6.
Yeah, it's something like The Stupid 7 or something. It's something dumb like that.
But I thought maybe I'm combining them in my head because
definitely are. Well, The Hateful Eight was on Netflix, but it wasn't a Netflix original.
Well, because the one I'm thinking of was a comedy, but it also had Samuel L. Jackson in it. He's got the gray beard and like the
He's in The Hateful
eyes.
Eight. He's in The Hateful Eight.
Maybe I'm.
Well, regardless,
maybe I just mistook the Hateful Eight genre.
Like I said, he has some of that really quality, highbrow filmmaking in his catalog, but he still just is able to put in those staples that are a Quentin Tarantino movie. So we're definitely going to get involved in some more Quentin Tarantino down the road. With that said, 9 out of 10 for me. I feel like I should give it a 10 out of 10 because, like I said, it's one of my favorite movies ever. But
it was Adam Sandler. It's the Ridiculous Six.
That's what it was.
There you go.
Yeah.
It does not have Samuel Jackson in it. I was combining the two in my head.
Yeah. You was getting loony there, buddy. But 9 out of 10 for me. That's just because, it is campy. I still love it. Mm-hmm. Still one of my favorites.
Yeah, I would 100% rewatch it. I had a really fun time with it. I didn't think I wasn't gonna like it, but it pleasantly surprised me with how funny and goofy it was at times. Because, like I said, I went into it thinking Quentin Tarantino was this highbrow.
Now you can look forward to that in any other Tarantino movie you watch.
Yeah, I'm dropping it with an 8.75 because 9 feels a little too high for what it is, but 8 felt too low. So 8.75 is where I'm landing on this one.
I just hold it in a higher regard because, like I said, it's just one of my favorite movies in general. I feel like this podcast, me and you, have both been our sloppiest on speaking and vocabulary, and just we both have had some blurbs here and there. We'll have to work on it, huh?
No, I think we should keep it. I think we should double down.
Do a speech session prior to.
I think we should become completely unintelligible by the end of every episode.
Just say random stuff,
start
not even words.
Start speaking in pig Latin.
I'll tell you what the solution is. We learn Japanese and just have a Japanese podcast.
Then people who don't speak Japanese won't even know what we're saying.
Exactly. They'll just
we can mess up all we want.
Those guys are talking about some badass shit.
Yeah.
We'll be like, yeah, we were. So 8.75 for you, 9 out of 10 for me. Brett, we'll definitely get back in the lab to watch some Quentin Tarantino.
After seeing this one, I'm excited to see more from him.
Oh, yeah. Anything you want to tip off for what you'll pick for our next episode?
It's a great question.
You have nothing in mind.
Got nothing.
Totally unprepared for that question.
I was. I usually go. I usually spring for off the cuff choices.
I got you.
Just think about it one day, and I'm like, yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah, I think that the next time I pick, I'm going to go with something that neither of us have seen. I really feel like we need to do something of that nature. But then again, like we always state on here, we're picking stuff we want to.
Yeah.
So, Brett, you want to wrap us up with the socials and we'll get the hell out of here?
Yeah, no problem. I'll wrap us up with the socials. If you guys want to follow us on social media, you can find us on Instagram and Twitter. Our Instagram handle is real_rendezvous_pod. Our Twitter is just Real Rendezvous, all one word. We are also on YouTube. YouTube's no different than this. You'll just find the episodes there. It's just another platform to listen to us on. But that is The Real Rendezvous. That's the channel name. And that's us. Quick self-plug. I also have a YouTube that I've started uploading on. It's Breet Prakheet on YouTube. Also follow me on Twitter. Also at Breet Prakheet. All one thing.
Yeah, you want to talk just a second there about what your content is on YouTube?
Yeah.
We love video games. So.
Yeah. It's mostly video game, pop culture oriented little, not quite video essays. They're pretty short, but I just, the only episode that I have uploaded right now is I talk about some reveals Nintendo dropped not too long ago, last month.
That's not too long ago.
And then I got 2 videos in the works right now. One is on the new PlayStation Plus subscription that they reworked, and then another one is on some Pokemon stuff. So those are coming out soon. But yeah, it's just a little fun side project going on.
I want to say that your Nintendo video you dropped, quality shit, dude.
I appreciate it.
It looked really, really good, man.
It took so long because I don't know how to edit, and I had to learn everything.
Well,
from scratch
I think it looked like you knew what the hell you were doing.
But I'm excited. I also changed the background. Kaylee made me a way nicer looking background than just that dumb purple yellow gradient. So I'm going to use that for the next video. It's very exciting.
Hell yeah, man. Well,
so yeah.
With all that, I'm Hunter. That's Brett. Brett, I'll see you in a couple weeks
Yeah.
for whatever you decide to review.
I'll be thinking on it.
All right. Thanks, guys, for listening.
All right.
Check us out next week.
Adios.